All right, welcome to Poker Time. It's a 5, 10, 20 cash game, and we've already started this hand, as you can see. Had a little technical difficulty at the beginning, but we're all good now. We're four ways. Stuart and Dusty with top pair.
Or at the end of this, all of it. Oh,
Dusty with a lot of chips in front of him, having won some big pots in the last episode. Looking poised to win another pot.
I said it's got to be close. I've been splashy a little. What? Yeah, he'll have the fucking number here in a minute.
Not the card that either player wanted to see, although not a huge concern for either player either.
Dusty bets confidently. Let's even get value from a slightly worse hand here.
Dusty is an active player. I don't see Stuart folding yet.
There are two hearts on the board. It's a reason to call. Dusty needs to feel very good about his spot right here.
He just wants no heart on the river. And that's the worst card in the deck.
Well,
I have a queen.
I don't know if it's the worst card. Stuart kind of never has ace-queen, but there's still a pretty bad card. I'll give you that.
Fine.
Like Jack of Hearts, probably worse. Oh, it does chop all queens, though, to your point.
Yeah. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to chop it up.
Yeah, I'm just curious. Motherfucker. Who got some shit?
I would have bet so much on the other
No,
side.
I've been seeing every flop.
You okay with me saying your VCAP?
What's that?
Are you okay with me saying your
Absolutely.
37-35?
That's like a taboo.
Fucking rolling over you, baby. And you folded that last hand. We did recalculate.
Yeah.
Who's the highest at the
40?
table?
You.
You then.
Got all three versions of Chris Moneymaker
Yeah, I
playing.
have to straddle.
We said we're doing
Different eras.
He's getting ready to go crazy.
Moneymaker, past, present, and future.
Raise to 40, raise to 60.
Whatever that means, sure. Hey, looks like Danny has put on the blind raise to 60 after Dan Ross put on the blind raise to 40.
Even if you had 10 out there, you were fucking.
Fair enough. Fold.
Are these straddles or are they?
No,
Okay, they're just deads. Okay.
Bets.
Dusty's gotten a lot more talkative since he
I'm not in the
accumulated some chips. I don't
got
know
some
if you
chirp-
noticed that.
Chirping chips, that'll do it.
Give you a chance to just slam it on me.
Winning feels good, you know.
Dan Ross can call here without fear of Danny putting in a raise because it's not a live straddle.
That's it.
We're going to have some garbage hands seeing a flop.
It's a nice deal for Dan Ross.
Check.
Danny's got more heart and compassion for the game, and that leads him to win this pot.
Right. Compassion?
Yeah. You have to be
What
compassionate.
do you mean commitment?
No.
Heart and commitment to the game.
No, I'm not trying to do Tony G. I'm doing a different thing. It's kind of like
Like a Tony Robbins, Tony R.
Tony Robbins, maybe, like awareness charities, stuff like that. The type of language they use.
Awareness charities?
You know,
oh, you mean
like-
like cancer awareness?
yeah.
Hmm.
The bullshit.
Wow. Lance Armstrong's Livestrong is a cancer awareness charity,
Yep.
Not research. Often people mistake that and think it's research. It ain't. They just sell yellow bracelets.
Raise 60. Fold. Fold.
ATC opening the King 9 off.
He's trying to live up to the name, although it does mean more than one thing. He's an air traffic controller.
His name should be Jiggy because he likes to get jiggy with it.
That's a sick point. Dan Ross, 3 bets the ace queen, and this should be the end of it.
ATC thinking, but he often does before he sort of snaps out of it and folds. But he seems to be thinking longer. And wait a second.
You think long, you think wrong. Isn't that
Whoa,
what they
he's not
say?
calling. Those are not calling chips, Grant.
Well, I am excited to see this play out.
Wow.
Dan
How much
Ross
is it?
has pretty low in his range for 3-betting out of the big blind here. He might just end up folding. ATC hasn't shown a ton of speed so far.
This is his first light 4-bet. This may be his first 4-bet period. I don't know how Dan Ross is supposed to continue. Wow.
Nice move
Wow.
by ATC. Did block king, king, and ace king, I suppose, with that king of diamonds.
Yeah, I guess so. That was strong. Also, Dan Ross has been 3-betting a lot.
Dan Ross is a good candidate to 4-bet bluff
Yeah.
at this table. I'm not saying it's going to work every time, but he widens his 3-bet value range more than other players do. As we saw just there, a lot of players would have just called with ace-queen against an early position raise.
Closing the action, especially. Yeah.
I know. Pocket jacks was the bottom.
Said Dan Ross got his pocket picked.
Maybe not even.
Do air traffic controllers get like worse prison sentences than other people because we expect more from them? Like, you're supposed to keep us safe, man. You stole my wallet.
The expectation is so high for those guys.
Yeah.
Alex with 2 7s and Danny with 2-0.
Alex limps again, by the way. He is Mr. Limps a lot.
Well, this is going to cost him this time as Danny flops a jack. It's at least $25 just in the road to nowhere.
The road to, and
Sure.
a deuce now for Danny as well.
Oh, and full house time. Will Alex get any more money in there?
I don't think so.
Probably not, right? He can beat a 5. It is Danny. Diamond's missed. I don't know if you can auto fold this.
Takes a lot.
What is Shrek?
Betting
like
full
the-
pot.
Oh, it's going to work.
Yeah, it's not a terrible call.
What's he drinking?
Just didn't work out at all.
Not at all.
A raise would have just won the pot pre also, which is
Probably this session against this session's version of Danny, but
Yeah.
in previous sessions, I don't know if that's the case.
really Jack Deuce off. I feel like Danny was folding Jack Deuce off
Maybe.
in almost every session. He likes them to be a little closer together. at
Yeah.
least, a little more connected. If it's Deuce 4, obviously, if it's 6-3, he's calling. And once in a while, you're right. He will sort of just wild card that into oblivion, where we just don't even know what's happening.
Right.
That made sense. Those
Yeah, wild card that into oblivion.
Yeah.
Eggman. Troy Aikman is white Jay-Z. After that, I couldn't unsee it. Yeah, next time you see Troy Aikman, it's the white Jay-Z.
Interesting
See it.
cultural take.
Sort of. No, he's saying by their looks, not by their. Like-
By their they
Yeah,
look-
literally, he's saying that. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
I sort of get it.
I've always held the belief that Troy Polamalu looks like Mark Wahlberg in a similar vein to that.
Huh. Struggling to see that one, I got to tell you, comparatively. Danny does come along with the 6-5 off, sort of following through on the promise of what we were saying last hand.
The ATCs.
You do see the Pete Sampras, Blake Bortles thing now, though, of course.
I only see it because I looked up Pete Sampras and said, look, it's Pete Sampras, and it turns out it was Blake Bortles. So
Yeah.
I had to admit that you must have been right about that. Great flop for Dan, the man Ross, but no one has anything.
It's great, but it's also not great. It's great that he's going to win the pot.
Danny hasn't folded yet, but with ATC, well, he still hasn't folded. There it is.
I thought Danny was going to turn to Phil Ivey for a second there, who
Yeah.
fights for every paired board.
He sure does.
What have I flopped it? What have I flopped my 5 high?
I'm like 8 drinks deep, man. It's not gonna be great.
You guys are sharing cards. That's the problem. Each other's outs.
40.
Is that
Is that 80?
40.
what is that?
No.
Oh,
Slutsky now with the blind raise.
Let's go.
I think we just have a round of these going on.
I won't complain.
5, 10, 20, 40.
Raise.
Let's go.
Dan Ross stepping out of line a little bit here with the Queen 5 suited.
I would say so.
And so is Danny. Is that a 3-bet? It looks like it is.
It is.
It's a small. It says 4-bet, but it really is effectively a 3-bet. It's pretty small. He's not going to get a fold. He's
It's
min
really-
clicking.
That's so strange.
Dan Ross is forced to call with Queen 5 suited, and he has way the best of it right now.
That said, he's probably folding on most flops.
That is true.
But Danny really gives Dan Ross the right odds to come along.
And that is a good flop
Wow.
for Danny.
Magnificent.
Bet 350.
Danny turns chicken feathers into chicken salad.
How do you make that speech?
Sure.
Make it 800.
I
I was doing the non-lewd version of that, the non-swear word version of
I
that.
really thought you had.
I don't think it came through very well. I think it was a failure.
It does seem that way.
Yeah, yeah. Danny wins is the point with the 4-3 suit after he flops. Somehow just flops. Awesome.
Living that Danny life.
Yep.
Surprise, but not low.
The best thing about being Danny is, if anyone's ever after you, you can just run into any grocery store, hide in the banana section.
True.
No one's ever going to find you.
Yeah.
The instant camouflage.
Or if they have a display of squirt soda, you know that?
Yeah.
It's like that color.
Or if you can get a ladder, you just stand up on a ladder and people think you're the sun.
They think you're
good.
the son in a grocery store?
Or outside the grocery store,
Oh, okay.
probably. But sometimes there are windows, even in grocery stores.
Some grocery stores have windows.
Wasn't that a stipulation that we made?
It looks like it isn't a round of the $40. Just some players are doing it because I don't think Alex did it this time.
This is not going to be a limped pot. Stuart will make sure of that.
Raise 190.
Big raise.
Yeah, I want to eat a golden child.
Unless ATC has something. Well, I guess Dusty could come along here.
The odds are not amazing implied
They
odds.
are good enough.
Yeah, but it's not like a dream implied odds.
You kind of have to
situation.
get it all, though, which is not going to be easy to do. You got to get basically a full double to make it worth it, which is
Hours.
hard.
Do you know Uncle B?
And the hand comes to an end,
Uncle B?
No.
much like
Uncle B.
all living things eventually will.
Allegedly. You know, we
True.
don't know.
True.
Yeah.
We don't know
all
what-
living things have
We don't know what
so far.
Chat GPT is going to grant us with. Eternal life or instant death.
Wouldn't that be something if Chat GPT ends up being the singularity and kills us all? But it was so convenient up until then. It was really
Or-
amazing.
Or
Blow
eternal
it
life.
off this.
But eternal life, granted by an AI, essentially is death.
And it's overrated.
Right.
Yeah. It's like the show Friends.
So we got 3 blind raises here. Dusty, Dan Ross, and Danny, all $20.
I think we have a misdeal, so we're going to try again.
We're starting on the button. Everyone but ATC has got blind money in this pot. There's already $215 in this. This is what I'm talking about. Let's see some action.
Sean's best friend.
I feel like Ron Howard, who's always like, action.
Oh, because he directs movies?
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah. He also just says action a lot when no one's around.
Yeah. Like when he takes a shower.
Like, 'cause it was, you could all you can eat lobsters, and he would have like.
When he forces his children to fight each other.
Be like, okay, sir,
Classic
like,
Ron Howard.
Like, stop ordering like 4 lobsters. We need
ATC looks like he wants to play.
I guess he has something worth playing, at least in his mind. We don't know. He had King 9 last time, and he went bananas with it.
It worked beautifully last
Yep.
time. There's $215 in here. You can make an argument that you should stretch a little bit to try and win this money. You could also make a counter argument that Danny's the guy who's got the 80 last to act there, and he's going to defend a lot.
Looks like ATC made it quite a bit.
Well, that's smart.
The amount we may never know because of, how difficult it is to put numbers into things, but it seems like a lot.
Well, a number is a concept, and so putting it into a thing would be basically impossible. So
Right.
that would be a physical action.
That makes sense. Alex appears to have a decision.
He really does. We don't know what he has, but
400 is what ATC made it. 5Xing it.
Alex has... we still don't know. Oh, there we go.
Oh.
What the hell is this?
Is he really going to make a move here? He only has 955 in his stack.
It seems like a terrible time to do this. I don't know what is going
Did
on.
he think he picked up something physical on ATC? I mean, this is not the time.
You got 3 people behind you anyway. 4 people behind you anyway. 3 people.
And ATC made it 400 and you only have 955. He's not going to fold.
Yeah, he's going to hate it and call, even if he's bluffing.
That was odd.
That was
Maybe
odd.
it was not that hand.
I hope so.
That's the answer, right? Because there was a misdeal. It could have been his hand from the misdeal.
Maybe it was like ace 10.
Goes king ten.
ATC wins. He shows. Is
Oh,
that
I
king
see.
jack.
I see paint.
I think it's king jack.
It was paint.
Pretty sure it was king jack.
Paint though. It was paint.
There's actually no paint involved. It's just art.
Oh,
Everyone should call it art, not paint.
right. So you're saying that the diamonds and stuff in the middle of a 7, that's not art?
Right. I'm saying that is not a drawing of, of
but
art.
you said art.
Also, it is a drawing, sort of, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not really in the same way. It's different. It's a maybe we should call them likenesses.
Basically, the lesson here is you can't use language in any capacity. It's impossible.
We got 2 blind raises. ATC with ace 9. It's better than the last hand.
If it was King Jack.
Or King Queen.
They don't compliment each other. Simons is horrible on defense.
But he does let it go.
Worse than CJ.
It's less playable than King Queen or King Jack if those were indeed the hand types that he had there.
Now Slutsky puts in 400 with ace deuce of diamonds.
Puts in 300.
300 with ace deuce of diamonds, though. And Danny says,
I have Queen 6.
not on my watch, baby. Well,
This is license for Danny to win. He flopped a gut shot.
both players flop a gutter. Slutsky with ace high in the back door. Diamonds. He is going to continue.
I don't think
mean-
Danny's going to fold. The question is he going to call or is he going to raise?
Is he really going to call this with only 1.3 back? The answer is yes.
He feels like he can win a lot on the turn, I think.
Well, he is in position. I'm sure that's a big part of it. It's a great card for Slutsky.
Yeah, Slutsky can now just put the rest of the money in if he wants.
It's
And,
definitely time to shove.
you
Or
know,
effectively
que
shove.
sera, sera at this point.
Bet 900 and don't worry about it. Looks like he's going a lot smaller. 405. I guess it's a he feels it's a committing raise anyway. What a sweet, sweet turn card for Slutsky.
Yeah.
Not only is a king a scare card, but it's diamonds to give him all this equity, even if he's behind.
He needs a win against Danny like that after that just atrocious 10s against 4 deuce hand.
So rough. What was that? It was like a $2,600 pot or something?
It might have been more.
Might have been more.
I think it was 1,500 apiece, at least. Danny with the royal family.
Raise 60.
Just call it
Harry
Harry
and
and Meghan. Yeah,
Danny
exactly.
with Harry and Meghan. Yeah.
That's ironic too, because of course they have abdicated.
And we, of course, have just angered some conservative Brits. But, you know, life goes on.
What's up?
ATC with the 2 7s. And that's it.
And a king high flop for Danny. Living the good life. Flopping the king. I don't see ATC folding on the flop, not against Danny.
It would be a foolish move to throw this hand away for $60 right now.
The 9 should usually not change anything here.
Yeah,
I
it doesn't
ex-
complete much of anything.
I expect Danny to bet again. And, you know, slow down on any 10 or higher on the river. Oh, he checks.
Huh.
Trying to give ATC a shot to bet diamonds, I guess. I'm not entirely sure.
This is a surprising check by Danny. ATC is going to bet.
This is a genius check by Danny because I bet ATC would have folded had Danny bet.
Yep. And ATC is now trying to protect his equity, but it's not his equity to protect. He's only got 6%.
He's protecting that 6%.
I mean, checking would have protected it even better.
No, he's protecting the 6% by betting.
A
Okay.
7 would be devastating, but it's a jack.
That is not the card that either player wanted to see, and I think we'll see check, and we do.
Danny's going to win this nice little pot.
You're gonna have to get the vibrating
ATC.
egg, but
Back to the airport.
Just now. Have you been watching White Lotus or something?
We have returned.
Okay. It's not like
ATC drinking. I see right before he goes to do his air traffic controlling.
Apparently, he's not just an air traffic control guy. He's also a pilot. So this drinking is extra worrying.
I'm sure he does. Just for clarification, I'm sure
Yeah.
he did not go to work after this.
I also do not believe he's a pilot, to be clear.
He's more likely to be a pilot than the average human, though, as an air traffic controller, I would guess.
I mean, you don't really know what you're talking about, though. Is that correct?
You want to bet?
But it just didn't.
I said, you don't really know what you're talking about?
No, I don't know what I'm talking
So,
about.
okay,
but
that's all I'm asking.
But I'm willing.
I'm not
to,
asking
what
about what you think is possible. I'm asking you don't know what you have no actual information.
I am
about
willing
this.
to bet money. Are you?
But you don't have any actual information,
No.
which is the only question I asked, and now you admit you didn't. That's all I'm looking for.
Do you want to bet?
No.
Because you think I'm probably right.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Blinders.
No,
I just don't like when you say things as facts when you don't know if they're facts.
I said probably.
right, but probably implies a probability. Let's let it
What
go.
are you talking about?
I don't know.
You don't even know what you're talking
I
about.
don't know. Let's move on to the hand.
The captions on.
We have dead raises galore.
Hey, that 7-foot guy is more likely to play basketball. Like, is that not something you can say? Things that make logical sense. You fool. Anyway, Danny checks.
It's about their 1919, right after the
I mean, do you think if someone's a nurse, they're more likely to be a doctor?
mob,
Because they're not.
Birmingham, England.
Danny with the nut flush
That's
draw here.
not a good analogy. Yeah,
It's
and
pretty similar, actually.
it's not.
Why are we fighting about this?
They're badasses. And
Danny makes bottom pair.
Thomas Shelby's
Can it ever be good, though?
badass, for sure.
Seems very hard for him to.
There's 6 seasons
I
of
think he's bluffing here.
I think he's bluffing for sure.
after the
There's
first.
225 in there. How much does he bet?
Yeah, I gotta keep watching.
Looks like he's just going for a value bet. Sizing.
But yeah,
Trying to, I guess, fold out a 3 and maybe an 8.
Give shows a chance. Give him a couple episodes.
Yeah.
Hard to know what to do. Danny is a bit of a wild card.
There could be a world where he gets paid off by ace high. That could happen.
Like,
When the third diamond
like
comes,
it.
though,
Oh, here we go.
oh, he offers him to pick one.
That's a good move with this hand.
It's the deuce. He shows him the deuce. There's the call.
I guess that was the wrong one.
And it's 4-3 offsuit for ATC. Wow. How sick.
I guess offering the pick thing did not work out in Danny's
No.
favor there.
That one off. I was like,
Really didn't. I got to tell you, if he's calling when he sees the deuce, he's definitely calling when he sees the ace of diamonds.
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
No, yeah.
I don't know.
I agree with Danny.
It's a good try by Danny, I guess. Danny probably thought he was getting called, so he took a shot to see if he can get out of it, wriggle out of it.
Pick either one.
Nice hand, though, by ATC. Nice call.
Yeah,
is that White Lotus pretty good?
we like it so much we're just gonna.
We're going to upgrade his hand to
Yeah.
10-9. We saw it was 4-3, though. It was
She's like
4-3.
19, so I'm like, her taste in shows.
Looks like Stewart is raising some hand and getting called by the guy on his left.
This is an artistic shot. It's Slutsky on his left.
Yeah, and then Alex is coming in as well for 65.
Like the first time I started watching.
This is
Here we
like
go.
early Tarantino.
was like, you really
I mean, I'm kind of loving the angle. I just wish we could see the cards also, Here we go.
5 6s, Jack 10.
Good hands.
Yeah.
And then I watched it again like last week. Okay.
I'll try that one.
So you got it 65.
ATC feeling himself, but still not good at putting those cards in the card. There they are. Okay, never mind.
Hey, this is the hand that we gave him.
Yeah, because
So-
he had gotten it. It had already been dealt.
Oh,
out.
I see.
He does flop. Well, second best.
Set of 5s for the young
Look
one.
at Alex though with Jack 10 of diamonds.
This could be explosive.
Everyone has something, and even Slutsky has a little something, but won't call with people behind him.
No, I think if it were heads up, he could call, but not in this scenario.
But the other two players, if Alex plays this as a call,
Maybe you and I can
we're
watch.
gonna see a
Ooh,
oh,
wait.
what?
It looks like Slutsky's going to raise.
Whoa! I think he's protecting his equity, or at least he thinks he is. That may chase out everybody but the set.
You have to ask yourself, if you're going to make this move as Slutsky, would Stewart bet into 3 opponents with a hand that he can't at least strongly consider continuing against this raise with?
It's a great question.
It's like, yeah, you'll like it. I was hesitant to watch it. It was like, I don't know.
I mean, he's doing Stewart a tremendous favor folding out the diamond equity.
Yeah,
Which he
yeah.
just did. Slutsky's down to 2 outs. I can't really imagine ATC continuing here. Stewart's praying he does, so he can put in a big 3-bet right now. He does let it go.
I think this is going to be just a call from Stewart now that we're heads up.
He could put in a small-ish raise just to try and charge the diamonds even more, but he could also just wait till the turn to do that. The problem, of course, being out of position, you worry it going check. He could also lead a lot of turns if it's a safe turn after calling. But he could also just put in a big raise right now and hope Slutsky has deuces.
Yeah.
Or a hand he ain't folding.
Yeah.
She's okay.
I mean, if Slutsky has ace 10 of diamonds here, you are way ahead. Way ahead.
Yep.
You're like 73%.
Can you edit that out?
Still talking about
Don't
it.
worry,
Go
they'll
ahead.
talk over you.
You want to hear a story about?
No.
Do you want to know
I'll
why
tell
he
you
does that?
I'll tell you a story. Yeah, I'll tell you why I know that. After this hand, it's a big pot. I'll tell you a story like of the Muster family.
He does 3-bet. He's trying to get it in against diamonds and hopefully a set of deuces also. Of course, set of nines is possible as well, but you just live with that.
He's also sizing in such a way so it's not super comfortable for Slutsky to just call with diamonds. He could, but it's a lot. And Slutsky might want to make sure he sees both cards and get fully paid and take some fold equity. Turns out Slutsky only has 6s, and this hand is over.
My best friend
Yeah, and I would argue that,
Russian, the guy
and maybe Stewart would correct me, but that it's very unlikely that Stewart has a hand when he opened in early position and has 3 opponents on that board where he would bet and not be able to continue against Slutsky's raise there.
Well, Stewart definitely has over pairs at least, but he probably has some folds, to some value bets that do end up being folds to a raise there. But
Which
But-
hands?
well, he may fold some of his over pairs when Slutsky raised with two players back, so that way he has some
Maybe.
folds. He may want to make sure he has some folds. But I agree with you. I would guess his range is continuing almost always, like a large percentage of the time at least.
Yeah.
and we were at a
Yeah,
I
when
guess,
someone
like-
when someone bets into the field like that and it's a big field, they generally have something pretty darn good.
Yep.
like a
You are almost certainly correct.
I guess like
from these 2 chicks that wanted to like double dip.
2 10s without a diamond is as a candidate to fold. Then if it
I mean, not having a diamond gives Slutsky more diamonds, not less diamonds. We actually don't mind.
Oh, yeah,
not
with
having
the
a
diamond.
Oh, there you go.
That's what I meant.
And
Yeah.
I'm like shaving and trying to get all cleaned up, right? To
Anyway, here we go. 3 ways. There's
There's
a
a
9 for Slutsky.
not a good one.
shave. I'm looking. My face
It's a
is all
pretty-
It's
wet, and
not a
I'm
good 9, but the best hand.
Yes, but just not a flop for these hands to get too
dry
actiony.
my face.
Indeed. And there's
And I asked
just
my
one out for the
friend,
field
like,
against Slutsky here.
you
There's
know,
one deuce
what's
left.
The deal with this tap? 'Cause there's
The
this
deuce of hearts
towel
ain't
that's
coming.
kinda
It's
like
not going to matter.
Not front and center. It's kind of off. To
I guess there could be
the
cards
side
that you could bluff. That's one of
right
them.
Next to the.
If anyone wants to take a
bidet.
shot, here we go.
Can I use this towel? He's like, not paying.
One
attention.
pair.
Oh yeah, go for it. I dry my face off.
Oh, I guess it checked
with
through already.
The towel that the babushkas use.
Stewart with no showdown value decides not to bluff that river. He could have. Usually no one has an 8 there when it checks through twice.
Foul fucking smell. Like I puked my brains out. Like it was the most
Does it smell like baby
disgusting-
powder?
We missed some sort of story here.
90-year-olds,
Used depends.
two 90-year-old babushkas using that towel to after their bidet. It was their special bidet towel. And I dried my face with the
Thank you for the visual.
fucking.
Did you break
None
out?
of it was registering until you.
I mean, you have
good, bro.
you have to. I'm trying to give you the full experience of it.
That was a good experience.
You are
That's a good
the
story.
only person I know that would A, have that story, and B, tell that story in this context.
Yeah,
Did this,
except for Wheel.
I didn't know smells could.
Will would tell the story, but he wouldn't have the story. Like, Will would not have had that life experience.
The middle of this story, Dan Ross picks up aces.
I didn't know smells could be that bad. I did not like. I knew there was a level of like bad smells on a scale of 1 to 10. I didn't know it could go beyond the 10. Like
Yeah, that.
the smell was so foul.
It's a 7 for Danny.
Bet 100 call.
Be interesting to see what Danny does in the turn here if Dan bets again, but he doesn't, of course, because
The two queens.
two queens.
And he wants to give Danny chances to bluff at it. Danny actually protecting his equity and potentially even value betting.
Pretty sure the only way Danny wins this hand is with a 7.
Oh yeah, but Danny's if Dan suddenly leads out into Danny, which he's going to do, that's kind of heartbreaking as Danny.
I like this play, I think,
Yeah,
from Dan. I think
He has
there's
an
going to be
easy
a lot
fold.
of check back. I think Danny would have checked back this hand.
I think probably he would have. He certainly wouldn't have bet 400.
He's going to pay it off.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the bidet story gets Dan Ross paid.
The babushka story. That's a weird spot when Dan leads the river there because, Danny does have some quads, of course.
Yeah.
And you're going to, I guess, if Danny raises, you can mostly just fold. You got the second nuts, but you can mostly fold anyway,
I think you
right?
can fold, yeah.
Wow. Somehow. Wow. That was three stacks of. Wow.
Everybody settle down. It's dust like.
Raise 50.
Dan Ross riding that streak.
Dan Ross and Dusty sitting next to each other having the best sessions, both with over 4,000 in front of them.
Maybe we'll get lucky and we'll see a huge
I didn't
clash.
even know smells could be that bad. Like, no matter what you've
You
experienced.
had to went like wiped it
Yeah.
and then went like what just happened?
I just started vomiting. I didn't,
The story's going to continue for the rest of the episode, I
It's a good
believe.
story.
Date still happen, or do you have to cancel?
Ace high, 2 hearts. We could get a little action here between Ross and non-Ross.
I fully expect to get more than a little action.
no.
Is Danny reaching for a raising chips? No, that's a call.
Yeah.
It's the dynamic in the molecule yet again.
Yep.
I mean, after that, I could go down.
Oh, well, the King of Hearts in Dan Ross's hand. Hello.
So, yeah, it's a little bit of good news, a little bit of bad news type of spot for Dan Ross here. The 3 of Hearts would be an interesting card because Danny would make a straight flush.
Yeah, that would be absolute death for Dan Ross.
He's like, I need to
And I'm curious to see if a heart does not come on the river if Dan Ross turns his hand into a bluff.
Well,
with
hold
the
on.
nut
Danny
blocker.
has to not raise here.
That's fair.
He really might raise his flush.
So Dan Ross
He
might just
does.
put the rest in right now.
I don't know. I mean, you have enough of a hand. Why would you? What are you hoping to get called by if you put the rest in?
You could potentially fold out some 2-pair combos.
That is true. Would Danny really raise with 2-pair combos when the heart comes? I don't know.
We've seen him raise light, and he could also
Yeah.
have 3-5, which you might fold if it doesn't have a heart.
Maybe not though. Danny is pretty sticky. I
This
think Dan
is-
Ross has more than enough hand to call with here.
This is a tricky spot, especially with the SPR that's going to be created here. Danny does not have that
Yes.
much behind.
9-15 back. That is a great point, and that is a reason just to move it in right now. You could just tell yourself as Dan Ross, well, if a heart comes, I want to get paid on that, right? And the only way to get paid is to move in. So even if he has a hand he's calling with that's beating me,
But it does only have value to move in if you have some fold equity against slightly superior hands, which,
yeah.
to your point, I'm not sure if that's there or not.
Also, does Danny have some hands like King Queen with the Queen of Hearts? And if he does,
I don't
you sure
think
wouldn't
so.
want to scare that off.
I don't think he does. And a king on the
Wow.
river,
Oh.
that shouldn't really change that much, but it does against weaker 2-pair.
Danny has moved in for 9-15. What a tough spot for Dan. We've seen Dan be so sticky, calling with ace highs and seemingly like a lot of very marginal calls on rivers for big amounts before. This would not be a marginal call.
This is just like that time with the towel.
You have a blocker to the flush. You have top 2. Do those things matter?
I'm pretty sure the solver calls here.
I'm pretty sure. With the King of Hearts in its hand, and I think it does.
Yeah.
But what can we beat that raises for value on the turn? Nothing, right? Nothing. Is Danny ever raising 2-pair on the turn and then shoving the river after we call?
I think he's happily checking back 2-pair on the river.
Me too, especially when the king comes.
Does he shove 3-5? Is he? I mean, we're losing to that, but I'm curious. What do you think?
Maybe. He might have 3-5, but that doesn't help us, right?
No, it does not. It is what it looks like, a flush.
Danny has the right image to get called on these spots.
I feel like Danny's trying to look nervous a little bit.
Dan Ross not really looking at Danny. Oh, there he is. Now he's looking at him. He throws out a time card for Dan Ross, which he is allowed to do.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
His last antics didn't work on the river when he showed ATC a card. That was for a much smaller pot. Maybe these antics will work in his favor.
He lets it go. Great fold.
Nice fold by Dan Ross. Getting a good price, too.
Yep, against. He does get to see it, too, that he made the right fold.
I had the
That's nice of Danny to show.
Really nice.
I'm just gonna,
Most players will let you stew on that.
unless a heart shows up, and then it gave me 2 pair.
It's so hard to make folds like that, but that's $965 that Dan Ross still has.
Yep.
Yep, great.
It's like
I think I did.
2 days in Montana.
What does that mean?
You know, like you could spend how
Oh,
much money in Montana.
You know, like if you're doing like a wilderness exhibition.
Or
type
just, you
thing.
know, eating well.
Yeah.
Staying at a nice hotel.
Sure,
perhaps.
sure. Staying, yeah.
Seen a show
Yep.
in Montana, like in Bozeman.
Right.
Go to the Bozeman Theater,
Mm-hmm.
which is, you know, fairly
Underrated.
fairly well known in Bozeman.
Sure.
Dan Ross just keeps getting hands to play. Whoa, Slutsky is, I guess maybe the smaller raise size is bringing him in? No,
He's
he's
suited.
just playing. He's just
He-
here to play.
He is suited. That's superior to not
That's
being suited.
top pair for Slutsky and the best hand currently.
Open ender for Alex. No backdoor flush draw, though, for him.
Guts shot for Dusty.
Guts shot for Dusty.
That's what happens sometimes. At Jack pairs, it doesn't change anything.
It does change ATC's equity. He picks up hearts.
Oh, that's a great point. It does change something. Also, you know, it scares people. ATC looks like he's going to bet at this. Not crazy to do so if everyone's going to check to him for the second time.
110.
I hated that river.
And I don't know if anyone is going to find a call here. Looks like Slutsky's going to find a call.
I don't
Pretty
know,
easily.
man. He did it
Pretty
pretty.
easily.
He did it pretty quick.
Yeah. It was only 110 actually. With that, for that price, he really does have to call. Is ATC going to bluff missed rivers? Because that could put a lot of pressure on Slutsky. Oh,
Ooh,
that's the
not
wrong river.
not a good card to bluff.
That
I
is
think.
the wrong river.
I think it's over.
Slutsky checks.
ATC is repping just a jack if he goes for a big value bet here, big value style.
I mean,
bet.
he could hope that Slutsky's got other draws, and you know, you could bet very small though to try and fold out those draws. You'd never have to bet big. You know, you could bet $85 and they still have to fold.
He's gonna go for it.
Well, this is. I mean, Slutsky ain't gonna fold this. I got it.
No, it's gonna be a snap call.
How much did he bet? Was it 400? 350. You don't love it, but this hand is way too good.
At this size, I think ATC is repping a jack.
Yep.
And Slutsky makes the call.
That's the end of that hand.
It's also going to be the end of this episode.
Yes. Also, it will be the end of this episode. You are correct. I've looked and seen that.
It's also the end of the world. Oh, wait.
I've looked.
No, that's not yet. That's not yet. We have at least one more episode
Yeah.
before the end of the
That's right.
world.
We have episode 6.
So
coming
make sure
next
you
week.
tune in for that one because it might be the last thing you ever see.
And what a great way to go out.
Yeah.